What do you think?
For the game tonight?
Yeah.
No, obviously there's a bunch of history on both teams. I got to pull for the Ohio side of things.
I got you. I
don't want to see Chicago burn down.
You know, this is a week where we always, talk to defensive players about what they're going to face from the opposition. But, I mean, how does it impact you? I mean, you have to know that possessions are limited. Do you try to push that out of your mind, or do you have to keep that at the forefront of what you guys do?
Yeah, you respect it, and you understand that you have to be patient in what you're doing, and understand that your possessions are going to be limited, and if they are, then you can't go out there expecting to score 1,000 touchdowns. But with that, you also have to understand that when you do touch the ball, your ultimate goal needs to be a touchdown, no matter how it comes. You start playing against Navy, and your tendencies might turn to trying to slow the ball down just as much as they are, and allow them to control the tempo of the game and respond on offense like the way that they're going about their offense. But as a high tempo offense that we are, we find our success when we're up and rolling. So we got to make sure that when we're back out there, we're doing the same exact things we have been doing to be successful.
And speaking of tempo, you guys were a little bit more high tempo last week. How did that feel to you?
It was awesome. It was awesome. We had confidence in what we were doing. We kind of put an emphasis on a couple of plays that we knew that we can get lined up and roll against whatever defense they're going to put out there for us. After watching North Carolina approach Miami's defense with the speed that they have, we learned quite a bit about the plays that we can get into with tempo, and if we find that a defense out there is going to be able to allow us to do the same thing, I'm sure we're going to go right back at it. Our offense is spread, it is fast. It may not seem like that when I'm up there checking a play 1,000 times, but the emphasis is to be fast. So if we have the opportunity to just call and haul, we're going to do so.
In your post-game interview with Catherine Tappan with NBC, I think you said something about I'm a lot nicer guy than I've been. A couple back-to-back losses with a bye week in there impacted your personality a little bit.
Yeah. When you're out there, with the start that we had, it's really tough to find the fun in football. And you come out and you try to represent your team in situations like this in front of the media, and you want to be as optimistic as you can, but quite frankly, it's hard to talk about losing. And now we're back in a position where we got a big win under our belt, had a little fun doing so, and we're trying to get our momentum the right way. And with that, you gotta smile, you gotta enjoy it. I'm definitely learning to appreciate the wins now, from play to play, and also at the game level. As long as we can continue to string them together, then hopefully I'll have a couple more smiles on my face after the games.
Thanks, DeShone.
Anybody else on the left side?
DeShone, Coach Kelly's talked a lot about how he sees sort of the short passing game as an extension of the running game. Do you feel the same way about it? Do you sort of see short passes as really run plays?
Yeah, I saw, Miami was a prime example of that, where, we might have thrown the ball 40 times, and out of that, over half are quick game. And I think that quick game part of it is an opportunity for us to get ahead of the chains early. Some great first down calls, second down calls to put us in manageable positions at third down. When you catch a defense who wants to add an extra hat in the box to stop those early first down runs, the way to combat it is to be able to put the ball on the perimeter. And I didn't do well with that in the beginning of the season. I had more of an emphasis on trying to, force a run game in there just because I had so much confidence in the offensive line, and it's still there. But you also have to remember that if safety's going to play 12 yards off the number 2 receiver, you got to give them the ball and let them work. We have the ability with the skill positions that we have to break away on some of those short passes. So if I can just get the ball in their hands and let them move, it'll keep us ahead of the sticks and put us more in second and manageable, and then hopefully third and short.
What's sort of the next step for you guys offensively in that aspect? What's the next part to make that a little bit better?
Yeah, take the first 3 or 4 drives of Miami and make them who we are. That our identity is still kind of all over the place in terms of how fast we want to be. Are we a throw the ball 50 times a game team? Are we a 50-50 run pass? We're still trying to figure that out. But I think that in the first half of Stanford and the first half of Miami, you saw 2 different sides of where we can go with things. And as long as we're successful in what we're doing, and we're just taking what the defense has given us, we're going to have continued success. We have yet to put together a full game of great offense, and I think that that's kind of our challenge now, is to find a way of staying consistent throughout the whole game, and now allowing the 2 to 3 driver lulls that we have, and try to eliminate those and score a lot of points.
Just lastly on that, I think a lot of people feel like, well, if you're going to be physical, you have to run the ball. That's the only way you can be physical. Can you be a physical, quick pass team? Is that
absolutely. It's a discipline, it's a determination that anytime you touch the ball, you're trying to fall forward. Navy has some of the most physical guys out there. They have some of the most mentally tough guys out there, and we completely understand that. But the only way to beat them is to match that intensity and take every ball that you get and make sure that once again falls forward. If you're allowing the pile to fall backwards, then Navy's winning in a sense. So as long as we match that intensity when we go down to Jacksonville, and we come with the same physicality they come with, I think that we'll be able to match it and move forward and be successful.
Sorry, I should have asked you this. In 5 of the 8 games, your opponent has had 17 straight points, 36 straight points, 21, et cetera. And I know, there were so many game-winning touchdown drives that you led last year, and up until this past game, it was your first of the year. How frustrating has that been? And when you guys did self-scouting during the off week, what can you put your finger on to avoid those long lulls in between scoring?
Yeah, I think that's a mindset that we have to have when we go out drive to drive. In the beginning of the game, you come out with this enthusiasm, you come out with this energy, coming out of the locker room, get the fans on your side, and that kind of propels into the game where you can get the first 3 drives with great energy and great focus. When you get to the end of the half, or maybe the beginning of the second half, that energy can sometimes fade away. And I think that the biggest way for us to eliminate those lulls is to be able to come off the field, sit down with each other, make sure we focus back up, get ourselves back excited to go back out there and play, lock in and focus in on what we have to do and execute, and make sure that that same energy that we have in the beginning with these strong starts that we've had continues throughout the whole game.
So you look at more as a mental, emotional thing. I'm wondering, I know you guys always have your set of openers that you come out with. How far do you veer away from those after you've gone ahead and gone through your openers?
It's game to game. Depends on where the game is. You got to ride with the rhythms, the highs and the lows of the game, and maybe at the second half you can go back to your whole openers list and ride back through it. Or maybe there's some things that they're showing, and there's adjustments that are made that you have to go back and combat with some new things that you talk about at halftime. I think that more on our part of it is, no matter what the play is called and as, we're going to be in the right play against the right defense. So it has to be a mindset on our part to make sure that we're doing our job, so that we can, once again, get that first down, get things rolling, and maintain the same energy that we have in the beginning.
DeShone, to start the year, I think the first 4 games, you guys were great in goal-to-go situations, 9 touchdowns in your first 10. In the last 4, it's kind of gone the other way. What is the challenge in those goal-to-go situations for a quarterback? I know windows are obviously tighter, you can't hit anything big, but what is kind of the challenge mentally and physically when you're inside the 10?
I think that in those situations, the best way to go about it is to pretend as if you are back at the 50-yard line with a lot of room. We do very well from our own 40 to the opponent's 40. And I think that comes with the idea that there's a lot of space to work, there's a lot of space to work over your guy, there's a lot of time. And if we can have that same mentality that, it's just you and the guy in front of you, if you can make a move on him and free yourself up, the ball is the only thing that has to travel faster. You're going to do the exact same routes. You're going to, have the exact same timing on things. Also, when you get down there, right now the idea is for us just to make sure that every drive ends in a kick. Obviously, we want to score down there, and we want to get a touchdown, but at the same time, you have to have the aggressiveness to get that touchdown, but not to be over-aggressive and allow that to turn into a turnover, or allow that to be a deflected ball that gets tipped up, or you're reaching out for a touchdown and the ball gets knocked out or something along those lines. So as long as we're down there scoring, that's the ultimate goal. Like you said, the the defense does tighten up. There's not a lot of space, but the mindset has to be the same, that as long as you're beating the guy in front of you, the only guy who really has to change the style of play is myself, and that's, fitting balls tighter, putting a little more velocity on the balls and make sure that the ball gets there on time.
Navy's defense is kind of up. They've had some good moments and some rough moments this year. When they're going well, what do you see on film from them?
They know exactly what they do. They know exactly who they are, and they're very disciplined with that. So when they're playing well, it's because they're locked into their 4 or 5 calls, and they ride with them. And when they have the experience and the smarts to lock into their keys, it's hard to get the ball past them. They like to keep things in front of them. They like to tackle hard and make big plays. I think that the best way to combat that is to once again take what the defense is giving you. If they want to play off and they want to keep things in front of you, then we're going to take the 5 yards every time. As soon as they want to come up and get aggressive, then maybe it's time to take the shot. You have to be able to ride with the game and make sure that the ups and downs happen when they're supposed to, and make sure once again you just take what they're giving you, because there's going to be opportunities to get the ball into these skill positions hands that we've seen, like KJ on a 4-yard slant route that turns into 50-some yards.